What's going on, everybody? This is Simba Ali, and like I told you, you are here on Big Talk. Let's get to it. Today we have a very special guest. And when I say a special guest, this is somebody who I feel, sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit bigger than what I am, but I feel like not too long after I busted into this podcasting game, a person that I actually had grew up with seemed to be coming right along, right behind me. And I'm sure he's been watching me. I've been kind of watching him.
Sure.
And it's just been an amazing journey watching this particular person grow from a young man that we knew riding on the back of the bus to him having a family now, being a father.
Yeah.
I got Derek, Derek Pearson here.
Yeah.
My man. Yeah, thank you for coming on Big Talk.
Oh, for sure, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
No problem.
I appreciate
man.
it.
No problem.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that we're going to talk about today, man. But one of the things that I just wanted to say to you is how proud I am of you, man. That
Thank you.
know your journey has been incredible to watch.
That's crazy.
One of the first people that I heard from our community talking about tech.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not talking about recently. I'm talking about at a young age. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like when
super
we were
young.
young and we had tech problems, we were like, go see DP. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
yeah,
And he'll be able to
yeah.
figure it out. So
Yeah.
you were like one of the first like urban cool tech guys that hung with dangerous individuals.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? To put it
Yeah.
in like words.
Right,
Like
yeah.
the kind of guys that you were hanging around, these were guys where I'd be like, damn, and you was right there with them at
Right,
all times.
yeah.
So if everybody doesn't know, this is Derek Pearson, author of the book, The Concept and Intricacies of Being Black in the Information Technology.
Yeah.
I got this book, he sent it to me, and he sent me a couple other books, but I just want to say welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
So, how, at what age do you think that you kind of got bit by the tech bug? At what age did you kind of realize that I like technology?
Well, like when remember we had Paragon cable back then. You know what I'm saying? Now it's Comcast, Xfinity, all this kind of stuff. So Paragon and all that when caller ID was coming out. So around
The brown box.
The brown box, like where you could actually, they used to have these little things where they'd sell them and they say, when you get free cable, they were illegal, but they were called cable to scramblers. And they was like, I think like $399. And so, if you didn't have, a brother or sister that was working at Comcast that could kind of hook you up and just cross some wires or something, you had to get one of them boxes. But the thing is it's like, it's almost like the marijuana thing where they say, well, yeah, it's legal through the state, but the feds may knock on your door and be like, hey, not legal with us. So that's how the cable to scrambler was. So I kind of got interested. My mom was going to the Minnesota School of Business.
Okay.
And she sent me upstairs to get something in her closet, and a big book just fell on my foot. And I said, oh man, this hurt. So I crack it open. I'm like, hardware, software. I literally read like halfway through the book, bro. I was up there for like 3 hours. She was like, man, what is this Negro doing? She's like, what's up with my purse or whatever? I'm like, I found this book, Mom. She said, I don't want to read that book. Like, they made us read it. Like, she didn't want to read the whole thing. She maybe read a few chapters. So I cracked it open. I had already been helping people around the neighborhood that might have had technical questions and stuff like that.
So when you brought up the Paragon cable and the scramblers,
Yeah.
are you saying that was when you first kind of got into it? Were you one of the guys that was like, I can get your cable? There's no statute. What's the time?
I didn't know how to do it. If I would have knew how to do it, I for sure would have did it. Because
Okay.
remember that Kinko's on Washington and Cedar.
Okay.
I
Yes,
took
I
a
do.
class. My pops was trying to start a business. He's like, all right, I want my son to take this class because he don't know nothing about computers. My dad was coming out from the Jim Crow era. He ain't know nothing about no computers. He just does like the blue collar stuff. So he had me take the class, and they like, he knows everything about it. We can't teach him nothing. So he really didn't know what to do at that point because he was like, he was prepared to thinking that I'm going to have my son learn how to do all this kind of stuff or whatever. The biggest thing, I'm going to tell you one of the biggest things got me in tech. I was working the cupboards, we all did over South. and I started kind of building my own computers. One of the big things for me, I wanted to be.
Stop
Go
right
ahead.
there.
Go ahead.
Building your own computers.
Building my own
At
computers.
what age did you start? Did you build your first
I was
computer?
at 16, 17. I was about 17 when I was going to South High, and I built my own computer. I built my own computer all literally from scratch. And the thing, and what happened was this is what happened. And like when you saying dangerous individuals, most of our homies, they was either trapping or some folks was in some of them were in nefarious stuff. So the thing is like for me, I was just kind of like, I was in a room one time and somebody was breaking down up some large amounts, and I'm sitting there and I asked them, I said, well, how much time you get for that? And they like, hey, we don't want to think about no jail.
Ha! They said, hey.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, well, okay, for that rock, how much you get? Oh, you get 10 years, yo, you get 10. And I'm like, well, damn, in 10 years, well, how much money can I make doing something else? I said, how much you need for a lawyer? I said, you're going to need 10, 15. I'm like, oh, hell, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm looking at all this like, yeah, I would love to have
the
a 90.
Math wasn't adding up at
It wasn't adding up. A 93
that's
complete.
The good part about having a technical mathematical brain. The math didn't add up at an early age.
It didn't add up.
Kids.
A 93 Caprice on blades with a 5 to 15 year sentence, it didn't add up for me. I said, okay. So I said, well, I'll just go and I'll get a job. And I went and got a job at Cub. And I went and got a CD burner for like $230. And that's when Napster was out. Then LimeWire came out. And I said, oh, man, this is like selling dope.
Woo! Oh, my God. You just hit me with two.
I'm downloading 8 Ball, Double Disc, Lost. I was an avid CD collector. So I'm downloading that. Psycho, Drama, Triple Darkness, Do or Die. I said, man.
Oh, my God.
I'm
bringing Pain Like Two Bad Nurses for the pain it beats him up. Verses, ridiculous thirst involving verses. I'm sorry.
Slugs to the dirt. All those to work with, man. Look, so we sitting there listening to that 8 Ball Double Disc Lost with the Psychodrama bonus CD, the Suave House. You know what I'm saying?
All right, guys. Sorry, we left you guys for a second. We are back in the late 90s.
That's what folks was rapping. So I said, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm just going. So I started like downloading mixtapes, selling it to the homies. The homies was coming over there doing double ups. And after a while, the Smack DVD starts. Oh man, I said, oh, it's a wrap.
Here we go.
It's a wrap. Like folks was able to get some bread.
See that? Wait, stop right there. I'm sorry. What you're talking about is a very important transition in time.
Yeah.
Especially from our community, because what you're talking about is you were saying that you were building your own computers, but then you're talking about this CD revolution and the ability to burn and download music.
Right.
So now this is the getting into the 2Ks and the, you know what I mean? So this is, you were into that thing. See, I wasn't into that. I wasn't thinking about that, but you were already seeing, hold on, man, if I can grab these songs, there's a market out here.
It was slowly moving towards, the Apple thing was just starting to be a thing. Folks was still buying CDs. Like Sam Goody, we go and get the Scarface, my homie's Scarface CD, that's $20. Folks were still buying CDs and stuff.
Facts.
But what ended up happening was when people started downloading, they would just get MP3 players and they might get an iPod and then load those.
Okay.
And, eventually what ended up started happening is people just wasn't buying CDs no more. And then when the streaming came in, it just destroyed everything. Right. But the thing is, here's my thing. When I was selling like mixtapes and I had my little DVDs and stuff like that, I had t-shirts and all that. I had opened up some stores with some of my homies. Like we were kind of doing some little revolutionary stuff for 20-year-olds. We didn't have no bank loans or nothing like that to get on these kind of things. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like was kind of using the philosophy, seeing y'all like, going into 32 West and Angel Beach and stuff like that. I was mesmerized by the music. So it was music and tech intermeshed. Right. You see what I'm saying? You have the box Chevys and the Gristle, you know what I'm saying? And all of this was going on in Minneapolis. You had the music, you had the street wars and the box Chevys, and then I had my tech, and it's just a goulash. And see, the thing is with me, I was kind of able to, I never had no issue going to certain neighborhoods where folks was getting their heads knocked off and stuff. Cause I'm coming in there, I'm dropping off computers, I'm selling mixtapes. I'm just kind of moving and shaking. Okay. And it was a beautiful thing because a lot of times when police would roll up and people be on the block, they scatter, police be like, hey, why didn't you run? You know what I'm saying? What's in your backpack? You got a pipe? And I'm like, no, I ain't got nothing. They're like, oh man, go on here.
Computer.
Yeah, they're like, oh, he got some mixtapes. That ain't no crime. They're like, what were you hanging around with these guys for? I'm like, hey,
am I gonna hang out with officers?
I'm
born where I'm born.
Yeah, I'm like, so it was one of them kind of things where, you know, like, so I started eventually getting into tech. My first job was taking an internship over South, and that was 2008. But was always doing, because here's the big thing. CompUSA, I went in there to try to get a job. They said, you need an A+ certification. He said, oh, you'll never get this job without an A+. I'm like, oh, damn. So I went and got a business card, started printing up my own business cards. And before I had a car, I would go to people's houses. I would download AVG antivirus and things of that nature. And then what I would do is I would wipe out their computers back to OEM factory setting. And I was charging like $100 a pop. Geek Squad, she was charging $400-500.
Geek Squad.
Geek Squad would charge $400-500 for it. So it was just money in the bank for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now these books, how did becoming an author, and when did you write your first book? The first book that you
Oh man, the first book I released that March 2019. Okay. But you know, the thing is, man, is as my career started to kind of catapult, and I was going from like desktop support to like system administrator and stuff like that, what I ended up doing was I started going to Metro State University and I started teaching kids on the weekend. I did that for like a year. Somebody heard about what I was doing, asked could I write an adult curriculum. So while I was always doing these IT jobs, I was going to the park board, like the Urban League and all that, and you know what I'm saying, getting people enrolled in classes. I got like hundreds of black folks certified. You know, it may be into the hundreds, maybe even more. I probably got a lot more people jobs. But what I did was, all of my experiences in corporate America, I just started documenting different stories. It might have been some Karen or some Billy Bob that's in there and they on some BS, and then I write it down. I write a situation down. But I write the situation down, and I had all these notes. My wife was like, why don't you write a book? And I'm like, I don't really want to write no book or whatever. But I had all these notes and of all these situations and stuff that happened at work and all that. And I said, man, I'm just going to write once I compiled it. And literally one night, some Hennessy, wrote down and from like midnight to 7 in the morning. Did the whole book.
Yeah.
And some people say, why would you say you had Hennessy? Man, I was up just chilling.
Yeah.
And then I started writing and I said, okay, let me remember this. And so I got a little story.
For the reason when somebody says why Hennessy, because when thoughts of inspiration and creation happen, you don't want to leave out the elements that caused it to happen. Why would I leave out the Hennessy if that's key in the happening? You know what I mean? Then if it wasn't for the Hennessy, it would have just, if I wouldn't have had the Hennessy, then maybe I would have went down another road. I would have just watched porn, whacked off all night, and just realized that I love porn a lot more than I do. But the Hennessy turned me into a player and got me thinking outside the box, and that's where we went. Okay, continue.
So when the thing is, and see, most of those folks that was asking those kind of questions, see, I'm not coming from the step and flexion bootlick kind of, I'm coming from the freedman experience. I'm coming from the black American descendant of slave experience in corporate America.
Right.
That's where I'm coming from. So if and some people, you got to think, a lot of those environments where you get black folks in, you might have, and I know we got to play our positions when we get in these positions and whatnot. But the thing is you don't really have to compromise self. Like, for example, I would be in some areas, I'll be in some businesses where I say, hey, brother, how you doing or whatever. And they would try to keep themselves from me. Earlier when I was doing IT, it wasn't that many black people involved. I didn't see black faces when I came in. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times situations, you know, when people might have asked me, well, why did you put this in there? Why did you put that story? Like the first book is kind of autobiographical.
This one?
The first book, the Being Black in IT, the little one.
Where's that one? You got that one here? Let me see that one.
The little one,
okay.
That was the first one. That was the first one. The second one is the big one, and the third one, we're going to talk about that. But the first one, that was talking about how to get in without a college degree. So I'm not coming from like necessarily the corporate perspective. I'm coming from a young black kid in Minneapolis that, you know,
how to get in where without a college degree?
Oh, how to get in IT.
How to get in IT.
How to get in IT without a college degree. That's how I did it. Right. And all of the things and the steps I took, there was people that read the book, took it, and then they said they got a degree. You see what I'm saying?
Got you.
So when I was doing my technical instruction, that's where I kind of imprinted that. The technical instruction is the nucleus of my book. You see what I'm saying?
Got you.
So everything that I learned over the years, I said I'll just give the game to the students. but not so much worried about, well, yeah, you can get a degree, have your employer pay for a degree, but if you just want to get a certification, and things are tightening up now, man. But that's the best that's the best way that I think you could go about doing it. And that's what I did. So it was an uncanny, non-traditional way. And my thought process is non-traditional. And that's what I put in the book.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So
Nice. Now, so why do you feel that technology, or do you feel technology, is so undervalued in our communities as far as importance?
well, we a lot of times come from a consumer standpoint. So we might say, well, we'll watch and watch. A lot of, I'm gonna be honest, especially, and I got to bring it to the social media, a term I quoted in my second book where I talked about the megalomaniacal masochistic mainstream media. It's like one of my little podcasts and stuff. But I said, I'm gonna write this. I mean, because this is like the dark ages. That second book, it's some folks, they gonna read, they just gonna be straight offended. They just gonna be, because like I say, I talk about how we got here. I talk about some of the bootlick Sambo class. I talk about the race soldiers. Don't nobody get a pass. When I'm talking about the media, when you have a media and an apparatus, it operates like how the Pioneer Fund used to operate. It operates kind of like
What's the Pioneer Fund?
The Pioneer Fund is a eugenic, race soldier think tank. Basically, what they said is like this Margaret Sanger kind of stuff where, hey, look, you Negroes don't need to have no kids, and y'all are genetically inferior, and they use this thing called the bell curve. So the Pioneer Fund,
Got you.
You have folks like Dr. Cress Welsing that was eating Dr. Shockley alive. Y'all ought to watch that debate where basically what he was trying to say is, well, y'all just prone to crime. Y'all just come out the womb, just doing crimes. And so, she had to eat him alive. The bell curve theory, the Pioneer Funds, they have think tanks. And what black folks ought to understand is black folks need think tanks. We don't need a catfish cornbread nugget, vote blue no matter who think tank. We need a think tank where there was something, and I had some papers.
Yeah, well, go find it. Do what you got to do,
I
man.
had some papers.
He just said, did you hear what the hell he just said?
This is the reason why.
Talk to him, DP.
This is the reason why
I thought
we
weren't
don't
going- put the camera
have
back on me, please.
we don't have what we
I thought we
need.
weren't going to jail today. Turns out we're going to jail. All right, go ahead.
This is the reason why we don't have what we need. Take a look at that.
Okay.
Now, when you ask a question about technology and you ask a question about,
Hmong College Prep Academy.
yep, and go on.
Somalia, Somali Mall.
All right.
Jewish Community Action Center.
All right.
Minnesota Jewish Community Center. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Somali Mall. Yeah.
You see what they
Central
got?
Latino Participation Center. Yeah.
They have all of that.
Hmong Community College Prep Academy.
Yep.
Chicano Latino Affairs Council. Latino Lead. Confederation of Somalian Communities. Somali Youth and Family Development.
They're not thinking like consumers. That's the issue. Right there. Where's the foundational Black American? Where's the descendants of slaves? Where is the Black American Community Center? That's the
Where is
question.
it, D? I'm not gonna. You go.
Where is it?
I can't keep doing it.
I can't
You
find it.
gotta
I'm out here with a searchlight in the daylight looking for it. I can't find it. That's the issue. You say consumer. I think we say with technology, it's like technology. We consume too much and we don't produce too much.
Right. Okay.
Claude Anderson. Well, we've had thousands of scholars that have been telling us this for over 40 years. Our problem with technology is whenever we get in front of a camera, we want to do a Popeye chicken backflip in front of the restaurant half the time. Or you want to twerk on a cop car, Minneapolis. Mm-hmm. You want to twerk on a cop car. So you see, that's where our issue comes from. When we get on these things, I seen something, man, the other day, today, there was this brother that posted something. It was some brothers in jail with some long knives. And they had a camera. They had a phone.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, you get bored. I get it. You're in a situation you don't want to be in. But dude, you telling on yourself, like attention starvation.
Yeah.
This is what social media is. So when you look at consuming, we got to start producing some of these applications and things of that nature. We can't just be out here just because we want to be seen. That's mommy and daddy syndrome. Oh, my daddy, my daddy wasn't around. Let me twerk on this cop car. oh, my mama was laying up with all of these Negroes and didn't produce anything. Let me twerk on this cop car. I want attention. Look at me.
Right.
That's the problem.
But no, that's the problem.
That's
but
one
also,
problem.
The problem I think is our communities too, though, are not breeding grounds for anything other than that. We champion that. You see what I'm saying? Like one of the things that I said that seems to rub black people the wrong way is that black culture has been linked with criminality and ignorance now. Where before, our ancestors were always, when you thought about the Negro in America, you thought about struggle, you thought about standing up head high, you thought about how in the hell are they able to do the things that they do.
Right.
That's what was linked with us. That's why everybody admired us so much from afar until they got close to us and started to see. And the bad part about it is they didn't even really get to see the best Negroes. They got to see me and your generation, which is the worst Negroes. If the people that are now coming to America could actually have saw what your great-grandfather and my great-grandfather were like, they would be like, oh my God. But
and that's what I talk about on that one a lot. I don't get into the see when you read that, you're not gonna, and no disrespect to her, but you're not gonna get a Megan Thee Stallion or a damn Cardi B. You gonna get Ida.
And no disrespect to them, because
no disrespect to them.
It's not. It's about how they're being used in a time where serious going on. I love Megan Thee Stallion when she's in her lane and she's making music, and I'm like, she just spit a nice little flow right there. I'm just saying, I don't like to see her being used like dangled like a carrot in front of us. Like, this is what black people like.
See, that's what they give us. Hey, fried chicken, collard greens in your hot tub, 20 acres in a mule. We might have to get into that. That's what they tell us. They don't really want to showcase somebody like Ida B. Wells. You see what I'm saying? Or James Fortin and folks like that. I remember I did a book report about James Fortin when I was a kid. And that's what really got me into, because this one ain't just a tech book. This is going into some deep history.
Yes, it does.
You see what I'm saying?
I know. Yes, it does. My son was starting to read this. He's still reading this. Yes,
and you know, it's a long read. It's a big print, and then it has solutions on each, and you could take bits and pieces. You know, certain things, you know what I mean? Some people might read it and be like, oh, well, like there's some folks where I had some people ready to be like, man, why are you getting on the civil rights generation? Because of this. The bastard baby generation. The reason why we are in in a predicament we're in and we don't have reparations is because of those Negroes right there.
Yeah.
The bastard baby generation. I remember I was talking to a Caucasian woman one time, and she said, yeah, you know, us baby boomers. She said, we're the ones that didn't pass it down. Now, that was a white woman. So, now a lot of the Negroes, a lot of times when you start putting that, it show like, okay, so y'all was the ones.
And what he just handed me is an analysis of out-of-wedlock births in the United States.
In the 70s.
In the 70s, right.
So, in the first part of my book where I talked about it, and I know people ain't going to like it, but they're going to have to deal with the facts. Most of the Negroes weren't like Malcolm. They wanted Cadillacs, cocaine, and a white woman.
Hello! That's what they wanted. Hello. See, thank you. Now we're talking
and real. And that's the proof right there.
We're talking real right now.
That's
trying to make it seem like, and honestly, this, when you're talking about this, you're starting to get into see, what I believe is that people always say, well, when they ask questions, well, Simba, when did black people go wrong? And I always link it once I study, because I study everything that I talk about. And what I've come to the conclusion of, it was the pimping, black exploitation, that curve, the 70s, late 60s.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. When we started to go into being cool daddy was the thing, rather than achieving and getting what was due to us from the fight. Just like passing the baton. You run, you pass the baton. But when I study, I'm like, well, it seemed like I think you posted something, black neighborhoods in the 1940s. You seen kids outside. Yeah. Black neighborhoods in the 1950s. It was kids and grandfolks outside. We were doing things. And black neighborhoods in the early 60s. Yes. Then you start to get to the 70s when pimps and we started to fall in love with this criminality and the get yours. And I almost want to say that that's where it starts.
Yeah, right there. See, the World War I or World War II generation, the early 1900s all the way up to, I'll say, getting into the 60s was starting to get a little, the 70s was just... Yeah. At that point, it was just... So,
pimps and horse.
Yeah. It was...
I mean, once you're pimping your own women, like, we made it seem cool because other cultures were like, fam, we just won't do what y'all do. We won't sell our own people drugs. We will.
They'll do it, but here's the difference.
Not our women, fam. Not our women. We don't... They won't... You won't... See... You won't go anywhere as a culture and see that it's okay for you to treat your woman like something.
You're saying
to
as
do
a
that.
culture,
As
like,
a
okay,
culture.
yeah, like, hey, we doing
when
it.
you see
We
Asians,
doing it.
dude, that's now people are people. You might see a selective Asians in the red light district that get down like that, but when you go throughout Asia, you see a man with his wife and they handle themselves in a certain way.
Now, when they get like to the triads and stuff like that, they be doing this. They be
Every underworld.
Yeah,
I don't like
underworld.
to talk about the underworlds.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
You know, the underworlds.
Oh, you're talking about just as a norm.
I'm talking about as a norm and as a culture.
Okay.
Culturally.
As a culture.
The culturally,
norm,
yeah.
Walking down the street,
Bitch,
not underworld.
all of that. That's how we talk. That's my bitch.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
No, a bitch is let me look it up. That's why I got the bitch is a female dog.
Right.
How did that become the woman that just got us out of the hardest period in the history of life?
Turkey
See
generation.
what I'm saying? Why would you call her a bitch? And then because if she's a bitch, then you're going to treat her like what you would do with a dog. See what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and after a while, that hate that she has for you for calling her a bitch and treating her like a bitch after she just got us out of some of the toughest times in this country is going to turn her into these rebellious women that are going to be handcuffed and used by liberal women. And now we're feeling the heat. Because you're wondering, like, why would sisters be like that towards? Why do they have this all nigga ain't shit, niggas ain't shit? Why is niggas not shit? Because you're feeling the flames now. And that's why when I talk about sisters, I try not to do it too much because I understand the origin of it. Yeah. And now we're just feeling the fire of the anger that sisters had from the first time that we said that's a bitch. Bitch? I just brought you from a bitch. Harriet Tubman. Right. With the shop, raised the kids.
Now think about this.
How do I turn into that?
Now think about this. Let's say you get the average pimp or let's say not even just the underworld, just a little basic like with the paper that I gave you initially. Now, when I looked at all these different cultures and ethnic groups that have their own community centers, and then when they come to black people, they have a selected puppet. And they figure like, well, black folks are emotional. So don't promise them anything. Don't give them anything direct. Don't actually issue a policy. I'm going to tell you something about, and I never really gotten into like the conservative, liberal things because that usually don't work for black folks. White folks could kind of take that hat on and off. You could get somebody like, I can't remember her name, but she used to be a Democrat, a Republican, then she turned a Democrat. They asked her about reparations. She says, "A check for what?" So and then you boom. She said, "A check for what?" Now, mind you, that she might be talking about George Floyd and dashikis and all this here, but when it comes to giving something to the descendants of the slaves that is owed, everybody get amnesia and stuff. They're like, hey, well, don't you want some fried chicken? Won't you want to go to South Carolina and have a fish fry with Clyburn? You ask him something like that, he'll be like, man, y'all don't need no reparation. Leave Joe Biden alone. That's our representation. You couldn't go to, for example, I was going to go bring this up, but you take I just watched Schindler's List before. Man, you bet not tell a joke. Oh, well, let's just have somebody in Schindler. Can you imagine the Schindler's List just give somebody a chicken bone and have them doing a backflip? That ain't happening in their culture. They're going to gatekeep it. And the same thing even with hip hop. The megalomaniac or masochistic mainstream media, when it comes to our media, and it's all technology. These algorithms, when they push these algorithms, if you hear for example, I seen something the other day, man. They had some little kid, she was 2-3 years old. This is on Instagram. They asked her, what does she want to be? I want to be pregnant. They were playing Sexy Red or something like that. And it's that's a conversation for later. When you're you're 18, 19 years old, you want to settle down, have a family or whatever like that. But what somebody should have said is they should have went to the parent and said, hey, you're off code as hell. She should be talking about ABCs. I don't want my son to live in a world where someone tells him a great white shark is an orca. No, it's not. It's not an orca. It's a great white shark. Well, it could be a Portuguese man of war, and then now it could be an ant. No, we're not going to flip DNA. You see what I'm saying? And that's another propaganda machine. So getting back to...
Speaking of flipping DNA, this is off subject. Do you think the chick at the Olympics was a guy or a girl?
I don't know. I don't know what's been going on with the Olympics.
What's her name? Imani. Shout out to Imani. What's the girl? I got her name. Hold on, we'll find it here. Imani Khalifi. I'm sorry. Come on, man.
I don't know nothing about.
She got the Y chromosome. It was the X. What's the male gene? X or Y? I don't know. But
I
they're
don't know
calling
much
their
about
guy. You don't
DNA.
know? Okay, keep going. Sorry, we went there, people. We don't want to.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. You know, with the Olympics, I don't know much about. I know barely anything about
Hey,
sports.
I do
gotta
know
ask you
one thing about
sports.
the Olympics. When Jesse Owens won it in the Olympics, he said, "Remember when America took it during the Hitler and when Hitler was out there?"
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, all the medals they won can be attributed to nigger sweat." I was like, "Ooh, shit."
They said that about Jesse Owens. That's what Hitler
That's
said.
what Hitler said. Yeah, he was
Oh,
like,
he was
he's
hot.
like, that's the only way they can keep winning their medals is keep saying y'all ain't got the best white people over there. Basically, what he was saying. Now,
Okay.
see, because he said the N word, it hit different, and we were started. But what he was saying is y'all ain't the toughest white people over there. The only reason why y'all can do anything over there in America, anything, is because of them brothers you got in them fields.
Yeah.
They win the wars. They produced the export import. For a while, it was cotton, right? That's why the Southerners, some people don't understand about Democrats and Republicans.
King Cotton, Queen Sugar.
Listen here, King Cotton, Queen Sugar, and trillionaire tobacco. You feel me? But no, it was the main exports of America was, like we just said, those raw materials, and we were the ones that were picking it. So we actually, that's when people talk about reparations. But not only that, the Democrats also were the ones that got the jump in the industry after the Civil War and made the factories that are going to now produce the raw materials. Right, I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then they made the labels that when we start making our music, our jazz, our rock and roll, and all of these musics, they got the record labels, right?
Mm-hmm.
So so people don't understand that trickle down, that it went from the people who were picking cotton, they got those raw materials, they were able to sell those raw materials all around the world. Right, you're able to sell this sugar and these raw materials that come from America. You're selling them in Europe and Africa, and you're making America.
Yeah, American culture. We when people say that's why that's why I don't let nobody ever say when they say Black Americans ain't got no culture. We are the culture. America wouldn't be without us.
Yeah,
nothing.
When you talk about American culture, you're talking about
music,
music,
nigga picking cotton to
to
your stock exchange and all. And people say, well, no, that wasn't over black folks. Yes, it was. See, the Civil War basically was just. Because a lot of slavery was in New York. They just don't say that. New York, they brought Maryland, D.C. slave blocks. They sold them to the South, and then the Northern quote unquote liberals said, "Wait a minute, you can't be having these Negroes work for free." And then the South is like, "Well, you sold these Negroes to us. All right, let's fight." That's it. And then the South got paid reparations, and then they made the black codes, and then the '94 crime bill. But anyway,
let me ask you a question. This is election time. What do you feel about people saying we should vote for Kamala Harris just because she's black? How do you feel? I'm seeing a lot of that. How do you feel about that?
Well, here's the thing, and this goes back to like culture and consumerism and everything. I could not go to Tibet and say I'm a falconer, and they never touched a falcon.
What's a falconer?
A falconer is basically somebody that, they can train up falcons. They work with falcons, birds of prey, and other raptors.
Right.
So, when you start, a lot of times black folks get emotional over optics. Oh, wow, the police is dancing with us. They're our friends. You know what I'm saying? Any old little thing that, that feels good at the moment rather than looking a lot farther and saying, all right, does this make sense? Should we do that? Let's just at least think about it and ask a few questions. Is this something we should be doing? How is this going to propel us moving forward? Man, I don't care. I just want to. Okay, so you just put him in a slow bus. Now, when you think about somebody that would say something like, "Well, black folks need housing," blah blah blah. We already talked about 20 acres and a mule. My spidey sense goes off. Like, wait a minute. I ain't never heard no black woman say 20 acres and a mule. When I was in high school and I was talking about
20, I thought it was 40.
That's what I'm saying. No black woman's gonna say that, and no black woman cooks no damn collard greens in a bathtub. That you ain't black. Where's your people from? Come on, like where's your people from?
But see, now we're getting into, and we're on big talk, and me being the host, I have to make sure that I bring this.
But you asked if she was black. Okay, right. That's not a reason. What's the
policy?
Well,
if she's black, should we vote for her just because she's black?
No. They don't tell any other race that. They don't tell nobody else that. That's the fried chicken Popeyes Negro spiritual policy. Hey, I'm going to give you some Popeyes and an abortion. Vote for me.
But you're saying she's not even black. Is that what you do? You
no black woman says 20 acres and a mule, bro.
Right. And this is the problem.
HBCU or not, okay, you could have hooked up with the Divine Nine and all them old tap dancing Negroes. The bottom line is you're cosplaying as a black American. The thing is if I start asking you questions, God is good. If you say something like, well, sometimes, you're supposed to say all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. You're supposed to see if I start asking you questions like that. If I ask you questions like, for example, like you say Jesse Owens, a lot of people don't know when he came back and got his medals, he had to race horses. A lot of people don't know that he raced horses. I just found that out the other day. I'll double check, but that's what I heard. He raced horses for him to pay, for him to have a job. There's certain things you remember. You remember your grandma's pot, that dark pot that she cooked with. You see what I'm saying?
So what I hear you talking
culture.
to is the culture. There you go. You're talking about culture. And the reason why those lines are blurred is because I believe that we've ran under the banner of falsely being African and also the black thing. We have not clearly identified what it is that we are. Yeah. Anybody can be black, right? Anybody can be black. So when you're talking about black people, when you say black, when I hear you saying black, you're talking about culture, meaning. So when you say black, you're not even talking about skin. You're talking, skin connected to the culture. Correct? Of America. What it's like being black this skin in America.
In America.
Right. But when people say black, they're saying just because her skin is this color, we should vote for her.
No, what is the policy? Okay, yeah, you're black. Yeah, you went to an HBCU. Okay, you cook collard greens in a hot tub. What is your policy for black Americans?
You know niggas don't care about that though, DP. But one of the things that...
Most of them just want a black face.
But you want to know something that bothers me, DP? Is that I have family members and friends who have told me, and I've heard, that I shouldn't talk the way I talk because I'm in an interracial relationship. So they're saying because your wife is white, and this is a lot of people feel this way. You have a white wife. You can't talk about black stuff. We don't trust you. You're a sellout. And that has been the stigma that, like I said, has been with our culture. It's not something that I was shocked when I heard. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't something where I was like, what? I've never heard this before. On what planet did they? Okay. It comes with our culture. But hold on, let me hit you with this. But now those same people are saying vote for Kamala. So what I'm trying to get to is the double standard that comes with being a black man and a black woman in America. You see what I'm saying? A black man with a white woman, he is a sellout. That nigga, he's a sellout. He's weak. He's this. Don't trust him about no black stuff that he has to talk about. But when a black woman gets a white man, she can still keep her black card. And I'm like, how do you get to? Because that's what I'm looking at Kamala when they say that, because I'm talking about the same people. I have aunts, uncles, cousins, friends that literally say, I don't like you talking like you talk on the internet about black people because you got a white wife.
You know what the real reason for that is?
And I'm like, that's fair. But now I'm looking at their same post and they're like, we got to do it just because she's black. And I'm like, why aren't you guys saying, no, we don't trust her either because she ain't black, she got a white.
Here's another perspective that y'all may not have looked at.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Another perspective is they would like to be in her position. They would have took a Brad if they could have. Mm-hmm. If they could have took a Brad. Because as I go back to this, Cadillacs, cocaine, and white women, a lot of those, I can't get lynched in a tree if I could get a Becky. You know, they used to kill us over that if they even think you doing it. Mm-hmm. When the 70s came and he could get him a Cadillac and work at the plant and have as many bastard kids as he wants. They talk about, I'm going to defend the Megan Thee Stallions and the Sexy Reds to a certain degree.
Okay, come on with it now.
Y'all had the World War I and the World War II generation above you. Y'all had Nicodemus, Kansas. You had Rosewood. You had North Carolina. You had pretty much every city after the 1900s when we got off the plantation. We cut our literacy rates in half. Yeah. Tulsa, there was Tulsas everywhere.
Yeah. And
Tulsa wasn't just the richest black city. It was one of the richest cities in America. Okay. That's why they burnt it down and put all the So my point is they didn't pass down what the World War I or World War II generation had passed down to them. They were spoiled. They call us spoiled. Pull your pants up. Vote blue no matter who. Pull your pants up. But the thing is, they don't talk about this. Why y'all have all these bastard babies if you were so damn moral?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah,
That
to say that it's an easy answer. The reason why they were having such bastard babies is because it was clearly a falling off of male leadership. Clearly, there
yes,
was another
yes.
gender that was leading with sexuality, where men are very more conservative when it comes to sexual naturally. You know what I'm saying? And when I say conservative, that means as far as the broadcasting and the, you can't just be out here,
Yeah.
sleeping with anybody. You know what I mean? And starting families with anybody. I think men want to have more of a woman that's a one and want to be,
Yeah.
most men are one woman women. We
Right.
might slip, we might fall.
Right.
But as far as like this promiscuity, this is coming along with, it seems to me, more sexualized
Yeah.
woman's perspective. You know what I mean? When it's talking about the babies, right? Because with those babies come government checks, come government
Yeah.
aid, come government
There's
assistance,
a
and all
book.
the things that they're not going to give to the guys who are having these babies.
There's a book called, so I think it's called Subverted. And basically it's a book of, because with the quote unquote like the white woman's movement, the feminist movement or whatever, it was a white woman. She gets laid it all on the line, gets told the truth. She said, hey, the feminist movement, she was one of the people that pushed it. She had a husband. Now she was talking like she played the feminist game. The white women got a bag, went back to their husbands and told black women that, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and get a Section 8 check. Stay in the hood. And then they out there in the suburbs living it up. So it was a concerted effort. It was a plan called Subverted or something like, it was a book called Subverted or whatnot. So when that hit our community, I mean, you see what happened. You know what I'm saying? That went bad, and it started off with the, like in the 70s. That was a real big thing. Now they were cranking it up with Margaret Sanger and stuff. She was going to the black churches,
Right.
and some of them tap dancing Negroes went with it too. But back to your original question, with they'll tell you, well, you should just vote for her because she's black, right? Without no policy in hand. And here's another thing I want to bring up, and this is something that nobody ever brought up on your podcast before, but I got a pretty good memory. You were one of the few brothers that brought up Dr. Umar, interracial, and I know people got the issue with the school. I thought he probably should have started a little smaller, but the thing is you were one of the first people that brought him to Minneapolis. All these so-called black power Negroes, they don't want to be seen in a room with him.
Hey.
Let's talk about
Put
that.
my picture up, please, of me and Dr. Umar up right there. Bang, bang. Yeah, there's right. Me and Dr. Umar Johnson.
You know what I'm saying? This was back before people was always talking about, oh, where's your school and this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying?
Now, to be honest with you, I'm one of those people now. Because I believe that he has been taking money for a long time. It is time to show people something. Me, personally, I'm one of the people that don't like to see my people con. I don't care what your hustle is, fam. If you want to go out here and smash sisters, if you want to talk black and get paid at lectures and then go smash sisters, but what I'm saying is when you start taking our money like that, because what it does is it messes up for the real leader that's coming to build behind you. There's going to be a real guy that's going to need some money, and he really has a plan for us to do something, and they like,
and now no one trusts him.
Umar went 10 years and didn't do nothing.
I think it could have just went small. Like when I think of education, I don't think of big, beautiful buildings. I remember like Little House on the Prairie. You remember Roots, the second generation? Smaller.
He should have started
like that one brother down there in Albany. Mm-hmm. He should get way more credit than he does. And I don't care if he's a conservative or not. That brother, King Randall, he got a school.
Yep, that's his name.
He has a school.
Yep.
So my thing is when they say, well, you should vote for so and so, and I'm like, man, y'all, 40,000 goofy Negroes went on a Zoom call, and wasn't no black school built. 40,000. I'm saying this, and some of y'all be like, well, I ain't gonna buy his book afterwards. Y'all probably too dumb to read it anyway. 40,000 goofy Negroes went to spend to get this chick in office, just with no policy. I can see if there was like, you know what, we gonna have a Black American grant where we gonna give you Negroes 10 or 15,000 a year. We ain't gonna give it to Ukraine no more. We gonna give it to you Negroes. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna spend it on the border. We ain't gonna be giving people $1,500 EPT when there's a black woman on the corner. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We gonna divert this money that we say we ain't got elsewhere. But again, it's consumerism. I just feel good. See, the thing is with folks like Trump, he gonna put the boot on the necks. He gonna bring back that Bull Connor. So now we can't say, well, this is post-racial America or whatever. We can't say that. We got to be like, okay, we got our head got to be on a swivel. We got to be about our business. Now we're going back to the pat on the head. Here, you want a pat on the head? You want some fried chicken? You want an abortion? You want a Planned Parenthood coupon? Do you want some? Do you want a Cardi? Do you want a Cardi B booty shake?
Like what's the boy dead president said? You want a dream or some substance? You want freedom or justice? They're gonna ask you and they're gonna take your answer.
We work good under pressure.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
human beings do. Humans do.
But especially us, you got to put the boot on our neck to get it. You know, just kind of like when you say, because I remember your old videos, man. I was seeing you had folks lined around the corner. I think that was over south or something like that, where you had you had a community center.
Oh yeah, yeah. When I was doing the community center.
Yeah, you was doing the community center. You had people lined around the corner.
Did.
Folks don't understand how hard you grinded.
Fam, fam.
They don't get it.
And this is another thing what I want to say right now before we get to wrapping this up. There's something I definitely want to say, that my journey through this podcast and thing, and that's why I wanted to have you as my first guest, because you have rode with me through those tough times. A lot of people have fallen off, talking crazy about me, and I think do you agree on everything that I say? No, you probably say something like, there's Simba saying, and vice versa. Everybody can't agree on everything. But one thing that I know about you and you know about me, we're good dudes, man. You know what I'm saying? That's a good dude. He's not an evil dude. He's not a shiesty dude. And another thing that we know about each other, they're pretty smart, right? So whatever he's feeling, I'm sure he's read something about it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to go casting aspersions on his character based on what I see comes out on the internet.
I seen you in videos, bro, teaching classes.
Yeah.
The average person that when you get on the class, and it goes back to the consumerism again, with folks, most of the time when you see people on video, they sound dumb. Mm-hmm. They got the mush mouth. They sound like they fresh off the plantation and they never read a book. Oh. And look at a lot of our ancestors. You look at some of those old videos and they don't sound like they're fresh off the plantation. No. They cut their literacy in half. Like, okay, why do you sound like you fresh off the plantation and you've never been there?
And the one who is fresh off the plantation has wonderful elocution.
Yeah, I don't like that. It's offensive to me. Mm-hmm. It's offensive as collard greens in a hot tub. That's offensive to me. You see what I'm saying? Because the thing is I get it. Folks have issues where, maybe where they grow up or whatever case may be. You got to think, we probably should be at Harvard by now. Like we had the U of M. Right. We really didn't have no excuse. We had the U of M now, but the U of M was expensive as hell. Right. The U of M was expensive as hell, bro. We grew up around black businesses. Now, some of them were like from out of countries or whatever, but we got to see small businesses. Mm-hmm. So like, as when I started looking at my books and putting my books out, some people say, the first thing when I was writing a book and I was telling people about my book, man, why don't you go get a publishing deal? And I said, no, I'm going to go through the nook and cranny distribution. Just like Nicodemus, Kansas. Shout out to Rich the Factor for coining that term. The nook and cranny distribution, like where they get their game straight out the Bay Area, fresh out the trunk. I said, I don't need a publishing deal. I'll publish my own stuff, and then I'll just have to just market it and find capital to do that. Mm-hmm. But what happens is every time you create something, you get some Negro talking about, well, man, why don't you just ask somebody else to put it all out? And then now you're beholden to what you can and can't say and do and this, that, and the third, because they don't want to do the work. Yeah. They just want a deal.
Yeah, they advance. They want to cash.
They want to cash advance so they can go and buy some shoes and whatever the case it may be. So that's important. When I was able to kind of see different aspects, like even with your shirts, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was excited on my way here. I felt like this was a top of the line interview, which it is. This is a top of the line show. I felt like I was going to damn New York. I felt like I was being flew out to New York to do like a, you know what I'm saying, a conversation interview. Yeah. And see, that's how we got to start looking at each other's, especially if it ain't janky. You done got the cameras, you done got the cameraman, you done got the lights, you got this. I mean, man, pan around to that. Most folks ain't got no damn.
Man, this guy sign.
Man, this man got
get that goddamn sign right there, man. Big talk on you, motherfucker. Big talk, man. You talking about?
He got a big talk neon sign. I don't know nobody with a neon sign.
DP, you want to know why I named the show Big Talk?
Yeah.
Because I looked up the definition of small talk. Small, meaningless conversations that don't rouse don't nothing. I was like, we going to do Big Talk over here. We talk about Big Talk. Speaking of Big Talk, before I let you go and before I let you run off and tell about your books, have you heard about this brother, Billy Carson?
Yeah, I went on his website and I looked at some of his books and stuff. I don't know, man. It's some space stuff or whatever.
The Anunnakis. The gods. Okay, so I'll put you on this. Billy Carson.
Now
Put
it
the
ain't
camera
no
on me.
plebiscite Bible.
No,
It ain't
Put.
no.
Can I get my camera, please? On
Okay.
focus on me, Billy Carson. I need you on Big Talk. I need you because there's a large group of people that I know you think that everybody knows. A lot of people still don't know. Billy Carson. He talks about the Anunnaki gods who came, brought us religion, and everything that we know, alphabets, time, everything that we go on. The Anunnaki gods brought us. Anyways, okay, back to you, DP. Final question before we get you out of here, my man.
And I got to show you the other books too.
Yeah. That's what I want to do. No questions. Will you run these books off? Tell us about, show us, and give us the thing. Let us know all these books. Everything.
So the first book was, of course, the concept and intricacies of being black in IT. Or no, this is the second book.
Okay.
The first book is the Guide to Being Black in IT, and that's like a semi-autobiographical account of my life getting into IT.
Okay.
And how to actually get into it. Literally step by step. You could read this in almost an hour. $20 investment of your time, so you ain't got to spend $10,000-$15,000. And this is something, like I said, that I did in my spare time based on actual real world results of me doing a tech training class.
So that's the first one.
That's the first one. Now the second one is the concept and intricacies of being black in information technology. So so this is the one that might offend you a little bit. But, this is gonna be the one where it's gonna bring some folks to account, and it's gonna bring facts.
My son loves this book. He loves this book. Yeah, he loves this book. He said, Dad, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't even know, because I try to tell him about things concerning our history and the past. And he's like,
right.
There's stuff you didn't even tell me. That's, you know what I'm saying? That's in here.
This right here is like, to me, is an archive of, because these are things that these are basic things that we should have known. Mm-hmm. Things that our parents should have told us, that either they were scared to tell us or either they just didn't know. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say that most of our parents, 80s babies, we had some pretty decent parents. They probably just didn't know. They just didn't know. Now, we should have had somebody that's older, and that's why I get on the civil rights generation so hard, is they were around when John Henry Clark.
Right. If Al Sharpton wasn't wearing a wire and he was giving us wires and showing us how to make wires.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Y'all was around there. There wasn't no internet, nothing like that. But the thing is, a lot of them weren't concerned. They were concerned about just doing whatever they do or whatever. It's no different than our generation. So they can't say anything about ours because they were doing the same thing, and they weren't living in a world where a cop could kill you and get away with it on camera. They weren't living in that kind of world. They weren't living in a world where your house is $400,000 and a stick of butter is $5. So they say, well, it was harder. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I get into the history of IT.
Just because I don't want people trying to kill us in the comment section, I think every black person in America lived in a time when cops could kill you and get away with it.
On camera?
Huh?
On camera?
Yeah. Beat the shit out of Rodney King and almost killed that nigga, and everybody's like, not guilty. I just think dealing with black and dealing with cops is in America. It's tough to get.
What I'm saying is we have, see, back then I ain't say, they did it all the time and got away with it.
Right.
But now you could actually see them doing it countless times. And and we got the proof. Like, okay, you see what I'm saying? You are killing this person.
The visual aspect.
Yeah, the visual aspect.
You can literally watch it.
Like straight proof. Like, I just leaned on this man's neck for 20 minutes, or I just blew him away, and he had his hand.
Like the lady with the water, or the lady. With
that demon came up out of him.
Yeah.
That demon came up out of him. You know what I'm saying? It came up out of him.
Sonia Massey.
Yep, and they had to charge them quick because they didn't want folks to turn up. But no, this is the dark ages. This goes into some very uncomfortable conversations.
Okay.
But I want somebody to show where I ain't accurate.
So is this book kind of like a bridge? Does it show black people's relationship with technology? Is that what this book kind of does?
That too. It shows how we got to this point. It shows a lot of old technology pieces that people used to use. Some of the new technology, how artificial intelligence, things that we used to use.
Okay.
Mainly a lot of things is coming.
Oh.
What artificial intelligence does us. What this propaganda machine. And then also it talks about people that undermine us using technology. It talks a lot about that. I start going back talking about the media use.
Oh, Lord.
You see what I'm saying? And then there's solution. In each chapter, there's a solution on what you can do in terms of tools and software and things you can use. Now,
I got a question.
Yeah.
Do you think AI is going to kill us?
It already can. It already is starting. The difference is because, see, you got to think. when they say garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
If you have a race soldier that's behind it and he's programming algorithms, like they say this new thing now where they got AI that can look at a black face. Well, you know they've been like, oh, well, all black people look the same. Well, with this thing, they had a brother. There was some AI. I mean, this story, you probably never heard this story. You probably, I know you didn't hear it because you would know. But this dude, he was buying some glasses somewhere. They said he stole something. He was an older man. I think he was a brother. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what race he was. But he was an older man, about 60 years old. They said that he did something. So they brought him to jail based on what AI said in a store. Based on some AI.
He took AI's word to
It
lock
was the
the nigga
wrong
up.
person.
Yeah.
He went to county jail. He got violated. Off of AI. I think
so AI is racist. So AI
it can be. It can be very much so. It can be very much so. Because all you got to do is program it. You got to think about the people that you
AI is racist.
If you got a conquistador behind the boards putting algorithms in, then there you go. So I mean that's you know, you could program it to use these views of what they think of black folks, and they can say even with sometimes when it comes to healthcare benefits. Oh, I'm not gonna give DP good healthcare benefits because he black. AI. Okay. There's been reports of that too. So it talks about a lot of that stuff too. It really deep. It gets really, really deep.
So now with this, I do love this. I do love this book. I love the little boy with the afro, father, right? Not two lesbians.
Yeah.
Not two guys.
This is
father.
This is on purpose.
A mother.
A black
and a son.
Yes.
The true trinity. The true family unit.
This is what a black family is supposed to look like. That some people are gonna have an issue with that. You can't have no issue with this. This is Tulsa. This is Nicodemus, Kansas. This is coming out of night. Now we know that this is recent because you got the laptop. But this is what we used to look like when we came off this plantation. We was dignified.
Let's look at some illustration here. Oh yeah, I like it. I like it. I definitely like it.
And any child could sit there and they could learn this. They could just say, okay, this is what I'm working with. That's where I was talking about the consumerism. Hey, can I be a system administrator? Could I be a software engineer?
Nice, DP. I love it, man. I love it, man. So much stuff. Well, bro, honestly, me and you, we can sit here and shoot this all day. And we're gonna. This is gonna be a reoccurring thing where I say maybe at least once a month. You know what I'm saying? We just go ahead, get together, whatever's been going on, piss off the world, and then just see what happens.
And my opinions on my own.
Yeah.
The opinions on my own. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm logical. I look at things from a logical standpoint. A lot of times where especially with black folks, we really look at things from an emotional standpoint. And we got to kind of dial back on that a little bit and just look at the facts and look at, okay, does this make sense?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Does it make sense?
And a lot of times it will be no. A lot of times, I swear to God, the answer's going to be no. Does this make sense? Why is Megan there? It doesn't make any more sense than Donald Trump doing the dance with Aiden Ross. You know, it's the same thing. They're all just playing a game, you idiots.
Yeah, and my whole thing, and see, that's another reason why I wrote these books, because I said, man, things are going to get rougher.
Yeah.
And when they get rougher, they really going to get rougher on us right out the gate. We going to have some type of skill set. It ain't got to be IT. It could be farming. It could be, whatever. But my point is we going to have some skill sets.
What about video games? That ain't going to work, is it? No, you got to have a real skill set. Welding. Electrician.
Farming.
Carpentry. Mechanics.
Because see,
dancing, twerking.
No, that's
singing.
not going to work. No.
How about basketball?
No.
No. Everything they keep us doing is the we shouldn't be doing.
No. None of the sports. It ain't gonna be. And see, and that's the big thing is entertaining. When you start getting entertainers taking, like why didn't? And that's another thing. That's what's also that's offensive as hell, man. Why did you get a black welder up there?
A black what?
A black welder. Why didn't she see? This would have won my vote over. I would have forgot about the '94 crime bill.
You're a small portion.
They could have said, you know what? We ain't putting Megan up there. Bring a black family, a black man from Atlanta that is a welder with his overalls, with the dirt under his fingernails, and his children on that stage. They might have had my vote.
Well, it would have just been yours. Because I'm telling you right now, every other Negro would have not known what the welder is doing up the is the welder doing up there? It says Megan Thee Stallion at 11 and Childish Gambino at 12.
Oh,
The is the welder doing up there for? So they'd have got your vote, but they lost the rest of the votes of America. Hey, DP, thank you for coming on the show, man. Like I said,
just give us some barbecue a call of the day. Damn, man.
I appreciate you guys. You're watching Big Talk, man. Like I said, with DP, Derek Pearson. He's got these books. How do people get a hold of you, man, on your social?
You could go to IG, Being Black and IT on IG.
Okay.
And then you could go to my website at www.beingblackandit.com.
Okay.
I follow back. You could also check out, I got a YouTube channel for Being Black and IT where I kind of analyze interviews and more. And that's the other thing that I do too. It ain't just the books. Like I actually will do mock interviews and stuff like that and have like a analysis on some of the articles and things that come out in terms of tech. If we're going to use the tech and if folks can be cruising around looking at ratchet videos, whatever, okay, that's fine. Have some balance. But get an understanding of what's going on in the future and have an idea on, okay, how do I fit into this? You know what I mean? So.
Right. No doubt. Well, hey, this is Simba Ali. You watching Big Talk. I appreciate you. Don't forget to click and subscribe if you like the conversations. We got more of them coming. DP will be a regular guest. I appreciate everybody out there that's been rocking with the show. Plenty more interviews to come.